Hi, Andy XL, back with another FIFA World Cup podcast, turning my attention away from my normal NFL subject for the duration of the World Cup. Once again, I'll remind you that I'm a former head of in-play football trading for one of the UK's leading sports books, and have more than 20 years trading experience behind me. That forms the base of my knowledge and experience of what to expect in World Cups. So let's have a look back at day one, where I got off to a very successful tipping start, as it were, tipping Mexico to beat South Africa, and not only that, but also by the score of 2 goals to nil, and then followed up by getting the correct score double, by getting South or parlay, if you like, for the US audience, by tipping South Korea to beat the Czech Republic by 2 goals to 1. So a really successful start for me, and also a successful start for the South Koreans and Mexicans, who now meet each other in the next round of games in what, if either team can win it, will probably give them the opportunity to win this group and proceed to the group round of 32 as group winners, strong favourites to be group winners anyway. For the Czech Republic and South Africa, the picture doesn't look anywhere near as positive. The Czechs were pretty poor against South Korea, outplayed for most of the game and relying on set pieces, particularly long throws, to provide their threat. Um, and it was plenty of threat from that, and they will offer that threat in other games. And they have enough technical nous to stay in games, but they really don't seem to offer much to offer a threat if they get through to the knockout stages. South Africa's just looked really poor, to be honest, offering very little up front, and I don't see their life in this competition but being a very long one. So let's move on to today's games, where the other two joint hosts, along with Mexico, get into action in groups B and D, starting with Canada, who host Bosnia and Herzegovina. Having lost just one of their last 15 games, the Canucks have drawn 8 of those, though. They have had reasonable results against South American opposition and have also beaten the likes of European teams like Romania and Wales and drawn with others such as Iceland and the Republic of Ireland. Those European countries have similar level of opposition to they'll meet here in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the Canucks have also kept 10 clean sheets in those 15 games. So keeping it tight at the back is going to be fundamental for them in this tournament. Captain Alphonso Davies of Bayern Munich will lead them in that regard in defence. Southampton's Carl Larin and star man Jonathan David of Juventus will need to provide the goals for them up front, but they've not been prolific in terms of scoring goals in recent games. Bosnia and Herzegovina, like the Czechs in Group A, got here by winning 2 penalty shootouts in the playoffs, firstly against Wales and then more notably dispatching Italy in the last round of qualifiers. They, like Canada, are more solidly defensively than dynamic going forward, and with them also drawing their last 5, a low-scoring draw could well be on the cards here. Apart from 40-year-old striker Edin Dzeko, nobody in the Bosnia squad has more than 4 goals to their name. So with these two teams joining Switzerland and Qatar in Group B, a draw may also be useful for both teams in terms of getting out their group, as they'll fancy their chances against Qatar or Qatar, depending which way you prefer, in their games that they meet them. So I'm going to go for either a 0-0 or 1-1 draw here, and a draw here would certainly mean a win for either team in either of their other 2 games would probably be enough to progress to the next round, which has to be their first objective. Then we go on to the later game today, or tomorrow morning, depending where you are in the world, and that sees the United States kick off against Paraguay. The US have lost 3 of their 4 games this year, and those 4 games have seen a total of 17 goals in them. The US conceding 11 of those, albeit against better opposition than Paraguay. So they play a pretty open brand of football, is what I'm telling you. The two actually met last November, with the US coming out on top 2 goals to 1, and they have plenty of quality players from European leagues in the US squad. Paraguay do not seem to have the same level of quality in their squad, and their last 7 games have also seen 20 goals to be scored in them, so almost 3 goals a game there. So plenty of goals should be expected. The South Americans generally perform better than the sum of their parts, and will certainly be capable of giving the joint host a game. But there may well be goals in this one, as I've hinted at, and I'm going to take the US to start with a 3-1 win that will get everybody dancing on the rooftops. With Australia and Turkey making up the remainder of this group, a win here would be really useful in what looks like a pretty open group. Although I have to say, I think Turkey are a team that nobody's talking about, and I think are favourites to win this group ahead of the US. So that's how I see day two. Let's see if I can follow up on my great prediction start from yesterday. Surely, the chances of me continuing in that to that level of accuracy is a pretty small one percentage wise. There's some trading background coming out, but I'll do my best to keep going and keep the momentum up. But that's how I see day two. Day three is a bumper day with 4 games taking place, including a really great game by the look of it and potential of Brazil versus Morocco. So I'll come back and preview those 4 games tomorrow, and also look back at how the 4 teams that are playing today come out of those games and what their prospects are like going forward. So that's it for me from my daily World Cup pod, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one. See you soon.